So the other day, I was riding in the car with one of my friends, and I asked him to tell me some of the biggest storylines that he has so far this offseason as we pass the NFL draft and we get to the quiet stages of the offseason. What were some big headlines? And one thing that he said, JT, I'm gonna be honest. Are the Miami Dolphins offseason moves enough to make them playoff contenders? And I think that this is a very good question because, when you look at the AFC, the AFC is stacked. It's a juggernaut. You have talent everywhere. You have great quarterbacks everywhere. You have great teams everywhere. It's really hard to, try to figure out what teams are going to be in that playoff conversation, what teams are going to be fighting for one of the last remaining spots in the AFC for that 6 or 7 spot, and which team is going to be on the outside looking in. Because if we're being honest, there's going to be plenty of good teams this year in the AFC that end up missing out on the postseason. And not because they were bad football teams, but just because they were not able to get in over the 7 other great ones. So you look at Miami, where do they lie? Because initially, this is a playoff team. The offensive line has been improved drastically. You bring in Terron Armstead, one of the few elite left tackles that we have in the game. Terron Armstead himself pretty much just gave the Miami Dolphins 2 wins. You may be saying, JT, how can one player automatically just give a team 2 wins? Well, you got to look at the value of certain positions. Left tackle is very hard to find an elite player at, which is why Trent Williams at his age is making the money that he's making. And he's one of the best, not only left tackles in the game, but one of the best football players that we have in the league. When you look at Terron Armstead, he's in that same discussion. He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL over the last couple of years, and he's one of the few elite left tackles that we have in this game. So that is a tremendous signing for the Miami Dolphins. That's drastically going to improve the offensive line, and that leads to 2 wins, because if you have an elite left tackle, that means you have somebody who's going to be able to, hold their own against some of the elite pass rushers in the league. Then you sign offensive guard Connor Williams, which don't really know how it's going to play out, because Connor Williams was solid. However, he does have a issue of holding a lot, so don't know if that's going to be addressed or whatnot. But he's better than what the Dolphins had starting at offensive guard last season. Then you sign wide receiver Cedric Wilson, which I love this signing, because Cedric Wilson was probably one of the more underrated wide receivers in free agency that not too many people are talking about. And Cedric Wilson has the upside to be a fringe wide receiver 1 or a really good wide receiver 2. All he really needs is the opportunity. He didn't really get those opportunities of being a wide receiver 2 in Dallas because he got overshadowed by, CD Lamb and Amari Cooper. And it's weird because he's going to the Miami Dolphins, where he's going to be overshadowed by Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, which is another addition that we got to talk about. The additional trading for Tyreek Hill, they gave up the fan to get him. But Tyreek Hill, this dude is also somebody who can equate to 2 or maybe 3 wins. Tyreek Hill by himself may be able to win you a couple of games. He won a handful of games for Kansas City during his time with the Chiefs. So with the Miami Dolphins adding Tyreek Hill, you have the fastest wide receiving core in the NFL with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. How are you going to defend it? How are you going to defend it? Are you telling me you really trust your favorite team? Not talking about Dolphins fans, but you really trust your favorite team to be able to play man coverage all game with 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the league? Yeah, good luck with that. Playing man-to-man coverage with Tyreek Hill is already deadly enough. But then you're going to try to do it with Jalen Waddle. Yeah, I don't really know how people are going to plan on slowing down these wide receivers. The only way you can really slow down these wide receivers is if Tua Tagovailoa isn't able to get them the ball. And really, we're asking ourselves, are these offseason moves enough to make the Miami Dolphins playoff contenders? Really, that's not really what the question should be. Really, the question should be is, can Tua get Miami to the postseason? Because Tua has a lot to prove this year. you finally have a coach that wants to coach you. You know, Brian Flores, for some reason, didn't like Tua. He didn't want Tua, but yet the Dolphins drafted him anyway, and Brian Flores was stuck with a quarterback who he didn't want. So now with Mike McDaniels, you have a head coach who seems pretty excited to work with Tua Tagovailoa. Now you bring in Teddy Bridgewater, so if Tua does get hurt or he ends up not really playing that well, you have somebody who can come in and be serviceable. So on the defense side of the football, you draft linebacker Shaney Tittle out of the University of Georgia in round 3, and I like him a lot. Like, I think he was probably one of the 5 best linebackers coming out of this draft class, and I think that he's going to have immediate impact if he is able to start day 1 for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins also, you know, extended or redid the contract of Xavier Howard. They also got a deal done with tight end Mike Gesicki and Emmanuel Ogbah. Like, Emmanuel Ogbah is going to be a really big piece of that Miami Dolphins defense. Like, he's been probably their most productive pass rusher that they have had. You're also going to have Jalen Phillips going into year 2. Interested in seeing what he does. But when you look at the Miami Dolphins roster as a whole, and you look at their offseason moves, like, their offseason moves should equate to them making the postseason. As a matter of fact, they're the second best team in the AFC East. And, you know, the talent gap between the Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, like, you know, it's big, but it's not, you know, super big. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Miami Dolphins split the series between the Buffalo Bills this season, because, like, you have 2 really good cornerbacks on the outside. You have a pretty solid group of linebackers, and the pass rush hopefully should be even better this season if Jalen Phillips is able to break out going into his second season as a pro. So, I mean, the Dolphins overall, like, with the addition of Tyreek Hill, Terron Armstead, like, this offense and this team should be a playoff team. I don't see no reason why you shouldn't view the Miami Dolphins as playoff contenders. You should at least view them as a team that's more than capable of being able to at least get the 6th or the 7th seed in the AFC. But I know there are a lot of people who have their questions about Tua. And also, what about the running game? I mean, you signed running backs Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, which Raheem Mostert has, you know, spent time with the 49ers. So I'm taking that he knows the offense pretty well, and he knows what Mike McDaniels is going to be doing and what he's looking for when it comes from the running back position. But I feel like Chase Edmonds is being kind of underlooked, because in Arizona, like, if it wasn't for James Conner having the kind of season that he had, Chase Edmonds probably would have had a breakout season. So you look at Chase Edmonds, he's really good at catching the ball out of the backfield. You look at the speed of Raheem Morris and the acceleration that he has, one of the fastest running backs in the league. You're going to have a pretty good 1-2 punch at running back. Also can't forget about fullback Alex Ingold, who they also signed, one of the best fullbacks that we have in the game, which we're going to be seeing the Dolphins probably running a lot of stuff out of the I formation. They're going to be using the fullback there. So it's going to be a lot of power running as well. But I just look at the moves that the Dolphins make, and it's like, if you don't see them as a playoff contender, then, like, are you just somebody who just doesn't believe in Tua? Or are you just a New York Jets fan, a Bills fan, or a New England Patriots fan? Because the moves that they made this offseason are definitely more than enough to get them into the playoffs. It really all now just depends on Tua Tagovailoa. Is he going to be able to make the most of the pieces that he has around him? Okay. And for the division, I mean, like, I don't really feel like the Patriots right now are as good as what the Dolphins are from a talent standpoint. But we already know that you never judge the Patriots based off talent. You base them based off, you know, other things like their coaching and whatnot. But for the Dolphins, man, like, I just feel like everything is there. It all really just depends on Tua Tagovailoa. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Dolphins get into the playoffs. I'm not going to say if they will or will not. I'm going to save that for a different video. But I have a pretty good feeling that the Dolphins are more than likely going to be in playoff contention. I'm willing to bet a lot of money. So if you're somebody who doesn't feel like the Dolphins are going to be in playoff contention, you don't think the Dolphins can win at least 8-9 games? I don't really know, man. Hit me up if you want to put some money down on that. But overall, like, you look at the addition of Tyreek Hill and Terron Armstead, like, those are just two huge additions in themselves. And they're so huge because, like, you pretty much have a combined 4 wins signing those two players because of how effective of a left tackle Terron Armstead is, like how dynamic of a receiver Tyreek Hill is. Like, you have to account for him anywhere he lines up. Anytime he gets the ball, he can take it to the house. Punt returns, kick returns, screens, slants. He can beat you throwing the football downfield. Like, you look at Jalen Waddle, you look at Mike Gesicki. Like, this offense is going to be really fun to watch this year. So you guys let me know. Do you guys think that the Miami Dolphins are playoff contenders? Let me know down in the comment section down below.